Working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect. Why are you having me here?
I don't have to have you here. That's one thing that we can make clear. That's one thing we can make clear.
What happened to Diddy Kane? Why did the band break up?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me, not talent-wise, but in other areas. At the very end, he fired me.
Aubrey O'Day is going to be a witness testifying against Diddy.
Why did Aubrey O'Day risk everything to testify against Diddy and break her silence? Her mysterious social media clues and presence in New York City are just the start of what may completely alter the course of events.
According to Us Weekly, Aubrey O'Day is set to testify in the Diddy trial. So according to Us Weekly, former Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day is set to testify in the Sean Diddy Combs high-profile trial. A source confirmed to us that O'Day was subpoenaed and has traveled to New York City to testify sometime this week or next. She's already here this week, but I don't believe she'll be able to testify this week because Cassie probably will be testifying all day tomorrow.
I am a very strict and focused businesswoman because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy.
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
The deal that we were offered, and when I say we, not every artist got it. Like Day 26 did not get it. But this is what it is. You can have your rights back to your music after Puff went under and somebody else bought our catalog. So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm a mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
About Aubrey O'Day being a witness testifying against Diddy, and I think the reports are 100% true, even though it's not been confirmed by the government. Aubrey O'Day did in fact touch down in New York City yesterday, and she posted this to her Twitter 2 days ago. You are standing at the edge of the season that will demand your truth in full voice. What you've hidden, denied, or feared will no longer fit the shape of who you are becoming. Doors that once ignored you will now open, not because you knock louder, but because you carry the authority of alignment. You were not late, you were right on time. And everything you thought was a detour was actually divine preparation. Stay rooted, speak clearly, and the shift is already in motion.
Yesterday, Aubrey O'Day really made landfall in New York City. Additionally, 2 days ago, she shared this on Twitter. You are on the verge of a season when people will fully demand your truth. The form of who you are becoming will no longer accommodate what you have concealed, denied, or dreaded. Now that you have the power of alignment, doors that previously disregarded you will open, not because you knock harder. You are exactly on time. You are not late. Additionally, what you believed to be a detour turned out to be heavenly preparation. Remain grounded, communicate properly, and the change is already happening. With a single cryptic tweet, Aubrey O'Day lit her timeline on fire. She tweeted a message a few days before to being observed in New York City, which many now think was a blatant clue to her involvement in the damning testimony against Diddy. Fans were taken aback by the tweet, which read, "You are standing at the edge of the season that will demand your truth in full voice. What you've hidden, denied, or feared will no longer fit the shape of who you are becoming." They saw it as a thinly veiled statement that Aubrey was going to have to deal with something big. That was not the end of the sentence. It continued, "Doors that once ignored you will now open not because you knock louder, but because you carry the authority of alignment." This wasn't a casual post. It felt calculated, powerful, and purposeful. And now, as her arrival in New York coincides with Diddy's trial, everything is coming into focus. Her past connection to Diddy isn't something that can be overlooked. As a former member of Danity Kane, Aubrey O'Day worked directly under him during some of his most prominent years in the music industry. This wasn't just a business relationship. Aubrey O'Day worked with him personally. In fact, Aubrey's most prominent years in the music industry, this wasn't just a business relationship. Aubrey has been vocal in the past about the control Diddy exerted over her and the group, describing harsh management tactics and a toxic environment that allegedly stifled the members' creative and personal lives. Her experience places her squarely in the inner circle of someone who has long been accused of using power and influence to silence dissent. If anyone has insight into how Diddy operated, it's Aubrey. What makes this even more compelling is the timing of her presence. Aubrey's arrival in NYC during the trial's first week was no coincidence. Once it became public knowledge, the online buzz exploded. Was she here to testify? What information does she have? While nothing was confirmed initially, the speculation grew stronger when her name was brought up in relation to the allegations. As someone who shared professional and personal space with Diddy, her testimony could be critical in validating claims made by others, particularly regarding the disturbing allegations tied to Cassie Ventura. For years, Diddy has been accused of controlling the narratives of those in his orbit, especially when they've threatened to expose the murkier parts of his empire. Many of his collaborators, staff, and even former friends have spoken about being silenced or dismissed. But Aubrey is not following that script. Her decision to step forward, whether loudly through social media or quietly in the courtroom, instantly changed the energy around this trial. The cryptic messaging, the public appearance, and the inevitable courtroom revelations have already shifted the conversation. Her willingness to push back against the alleged control and manipulation is setting a tone of defiance that could inspire more people to come forward. So what is she holding back? That might be the most tantalizing question of all. If her social media post is any indication, Aubrey seems ready to lay it all on the table.
I just want to throw you the facts, okay?
Sure.
So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that, 48 million? And this benevolent man who's just now had a change of heart and has decided to pay us as talent, we only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs Music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public. I would like to do a documentary for Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, a streaming site. I offered some of the girls, hey, if you need $800-900, I'll give it to you. Don't sign this.
The fact that the kids are marching up to that court, praying over everything and walking in with a bunch of women also that are encouraging it. I don't know any father that would want their children to sit through testimony about how much their daddy liked to watch people lubricated.
They are going to start shaping multiple different charges that Diddy is being accused of. And not only that, they are going to corroborate what Cassie Ventura is saying, because things that they witnessed firsthand being around Cassie. She also alleged that Diddy had a very demeaning behavior towards them and made it very toxic. And that also plays a part into the forced labor charge.
They are going to start shaping multiple different charges that Diddy is being accused of. And not only that, they are going to corroborate what Cassie Ventura is saying, because things that they witnessed firsthand being around Cassie. She also alleged that Diddy had a very demeaning behavior towards them and made it very toxic. And that also plays a part into the forced labor charge. Don Richard's testimony has quickly become one of the most explosive pieces of this trial. As the lawsuits and allegations pile up against Diddy, her statements bring a level of detail and insider knowledge that could make all the difference. Rashad, a key witness, has laid out shocking claims in her lawsuit that have already sent ripples through this legal battle, and they center directly on allegations of control, violence, and exploitation. Here's where it gets even more intense. Rashad has alleged she personally witnessed Diddy physically assaulting Cassie Ventura on multiple occasions. This is not hearsay or secondhand gossip. She claims to have seen these acts with her own eyes. That part of her testimony alone matters immensely. Here's why. Cassie's allegations against Diddy have already painted a chilling picture of abuse, but Richard's claims back them up, giving the court critical corroboration from someone who was close enough to see the alleged violence happen in real time. That's not just a coincidence, it's a potential turning point for this trial. Richard's lawsuit also details an environment that sounds more like a nightmare than an entertainment career. She's described working under horrifying conditions: 36 48-hour work sessions with no breaks, no food, and no sleep. This wasn't just an occasional occurrence, according to Richard. This was the standard. She's also stated that Diddy subjected his staff and performers, including members of Danity Kane, to constant psychological strain with his derogatory and demeaning behavior. Think about that for a second. Richard is not just accusing Diddy of fostering a toxic work environment. She's outlining what could easily fit the description of forced labor. When you hear those allegations, it's impossible not to wonder what else lies beneath the surface. Richard stepping forward with these allegations, especially in such a high-profile case, isn't without risk. She knows what's at stake. Her motivation to testify appears to be fueled by more than just a desire for justice. It seems deeply personal. Richard, like so many others, has likely carried the burden of